talking to a friend of mine the other day about how office has, essentially shrunk over time. And you got to keep in mind, this isn't just since, COVID hit or anything of that nature. It's been the average office space per, worker has been shrinking because, 10 years ago, keep in mind, 10 years ago, the average office space per employee was around, 250 square feet, right? That number today is at about 185. So you are near, 70 square feet less, which, if you times that by, say 50 workers, I mean, you're down, nearly 3,500 square feet is where you would have been at 10 years ago. And so, he was asking me basically what kind of started that trend. I mean, look, it just starts with technology, right? Because a long time ago, we didn't have, tablets, mobile devices, and things of that nature. And so ever since technology has continued to grow and expand, when those came out, that started shrinking it. So it's not something that just started happening. It's been happening for a while. That number, I believe, even though we're at 185 right now, I believe that number will probably come down a little bit more. The co-working spaces have really affected a lot of that. I think it's going to come down a little bit more. Obviously, it can't go to 2 or 3. We can't all stand in a corner. But that is something to recognize, especially if you're investing in office space, understanding the local tenant sizes and how those affect what your vacancies are very key, because you got to keep in mind every submarket, right? Every submarket is different. So you can't make spec spaces in Las Colinas the same size as you would do in Uptown or whatnot, because if you take all the tenants in Las Colinas and divide them by the number of tenants, right? You take the total square footage that they occupy divided by the numbers, you're going to get about 2,500 square foot average tenant size as of today. That number 10 years ago was substantially larger. So understanding those tenant trends and tenants in the market and where those square footages are your key to success in leasing office space. And so anytime somebody comes to us with a building and they're struggling to lease, the first thing we look at is, what is the average tenant size in your area? How do we find those guys? And how do we tailor this building to that clientele?